How long should your federal resume be? 1 page? 2 pages? What's the limit? In corporate America, there are different schools of thought on this, but usually the way of thinking about it is to keep it short, 1 to 2 pages. A few years back, I heard a story about resumes that said, if Bill Gates can have a 1-page resume, why can't you? All of these different schools of thought go out the window when it comes to a federal resume that you are going to generate via the usajobs.gov website. The usajobs.gov website will generate the format of your resume based on what information you enter. After you enter your information into the various fields, including your personal information, your work history, your education, your certifications and licenses and references, there is a tab that says Preview and Finish. By clicking this, you will see that the format that is generated by the usajobs.gov website for a federal resume doesn't limit the length. Now, does that mean your resume should go on for 20 pages? I wouldn't recommend that. The Federal Resume Guide, produced by the National Archives and Records Administration, says the average length is 4 to 5 pages. I would say, though, after being on both sides of the table for the hiring process, that you want to enter relevant work experience. Work experience that's relevant to the job that you're applying for. Caution: the web page can time out if you take a long time to type your information into the fields. I have spent hours entering information only to have it all disappear when I tried to save on the website. My recommendation is look at the word count limits for the fields and type up your narrative in a document editor, like Notepad or WordPad, Word or Pages, something on your local computer. Then cut and paste the information into the fields on the usajobs.gov website and save. Most hiring or selecting officials are going to be looking for the continuity of your work history. If there are gaps, it is going to be better to show something in those time frames for work experience, because it could be noticed and be a virtual question mark on you. Volunteer work or attending classes to improve your skills are good things to see in a gap. If a hiring or selecting official sees that the number of hours you are working per week adds up to 80 hours a week, that is also going to set off a red flag. I have done some analysis of individuals' resumes in the past where they had a full-time gig going on with someone, and then they had a part-time gig going on somewhere else, and their hours added up to 80 hours, 90 hours, and even 100 hours a week. That doesn't look quite right on a resume, and in one situation I had an individual where 3 positions were overlapping on their time frames on the resume. You want to make sure you have somewhat continuous, unbroken work experience. There can be some overlap for some people who are in a dual status. This applies for people with a full-time job and then another part-time job like the Army National Guard or Air Force Reserve or something like that. You want the information that's in the resume to be relevant and have a continuous timeline chronologically. There's a good example of the federal resume format at the following link at the gogovernment.org website. Federal Pros also has some great examples at their federalpros.com website. The selecting officials are looking on the resume for your skill set and your experience. They want to know if you have participated in the kinds of activities that you're going to need to do on the job with them. Have you produced the results that they are looking for now while working with other organizations in the past or currently? Always keep in mind that the selecting official's main concern is to find a highly qualified person that will be a positive force and a contributing member of their team. They are not focused at this point in the process on what you need, but what you offer them. Don't worry about the 1 to 2 page rule for federal resumes. However, don't go on for 20 pages either, because a selecting official is going to have a virtual stack of papers on their desktop computer. I say stack because when a federal job opportunity is advertised, a selecting official could be looking at anywhere from 20 to 60 resumes or more, and if yours is too long, at some point it could become a detriment to you. Unless, of course, you are just one of those superstars that has accomplished great things at every position you're in. You don't want to hide that great work. Everything is negotiable, so to speak, when it comes to your resume. You're going to have to use judgment and get some others to review your resume and get their opinion whether to include or not to include everything that you've got. It's more about relevance and content than it is about length. Keep in mind that everything that the usajobs.gov website puts on your resume needs to be there. The times that you served at a job, the pay you were making, the pay grade, your work experience in reverse chronological order are some of the things that need to be in a resume, regardless if it's in the format produced by the usajobs.gov website. I would recommend you use the format on the usajobs.gov website because it's what's expected. An exception could be if you have a very, very well done resume produced by a consulting service specializing in federal resumes, or you have access to an outstanding graphic designer or formatter. Perhaps you have access to someone who has worked for magazines or publications and just knows how to present things in a very favorable graphic and light. Unless you've got that, and you know that you've got that, let usajobs.gov format the resume. It's what the selecting officials are expecting to see. Thank you for your attention viewing our video today. I hope it helps you with your government job search. If you found value in the material presented and would like to know more about how to use the USA Jobs website or how to write a federal resume, go to our website at governmentjobhq.com and download our latest tools.